Hey guys, Mike here from Lunch Money Comics. It's another beautiful day, which means another awesome morning hunting for yard sales. I found some pretty great ones posted online. I put them all into my GPS. I have some high hopes that we're going to find some pretty good stuff today. Let's see how we do. Cool. Game Boy in the box. Alright, bought them all. Sweet. So first off was very successful. I got a whole big stack of comic books, but we're just getting started. Let's check out the next place. Man, there are yard sales everywhere today. I was on my way to my second location I had in the GPS, and I found 2 yard sales that weren't even advertised. The first one didn't have much, but this one looks pretty big. You gotta stop when you see them, guys. Let's see what they have. Lots of awesome. Pretty sure this one is a Pedro Martinez rookie. Yep, there he is. Cool. So you guys see I bought a few things at this yard sale, but I actually have a very interesting story about some comic books there. I'll tell you back at the house. In the meantime, here's my next stop. Cool. All right, nothing there. On to the next one. All right, I'm at the next location, and it's sort of a bonus. We have one on this side of the street, and we got one on that side of the street. Let's see if we can find anything good.
It's plastic.
There we go. Some action figures. Cool. I have this game. It's a fun game. It's not a bad deal for a gift stocking stuffer.
Yeah, I see him now. Just put the street right there.
But then she never really did anything with them.
Cool. We just Sabretooth. We get some Iron Mans. She-Hulk. Some Wakanda Forever masks. Nice. All right, let's walk across the street to the next one. What is that?
Oh, really?
That is cool. Yeah. It's old. That's awesome. All right, yeah. Cool. Sweet. I don't exactly know why I bought that. I thought it was really cool and the price was right. Sort of an impulse buy. That's the fun part about hitting yard sales. On to the next place. Next location. What do you have on the comic books?
Those are signed.
Oh.
Might be prices.
Oh, I see. Yep. Who are they signed by?
I'm not sure. This one, I think the artist, the person who wrote it. This one, these two, I'm not sure, but this one definitely that guy.
Oh. Yeah, it's like Mark Bagley. Yep. What do you have on these?
Those are just $3 a piece.
Cool. Nothing had to go. X-Men, but this one's simpler. All right, yeah, 50, deal. So yeah, that was a pretty fortuitous find. That guy had all sorts of cool stuff, lots of cool action figures, old games, and of course a whole bunch of comic books. He was a little high, but I was able to get a pretty good package deal for that entire box of comic books, plus a signed book by Mark Bagley. Pretty good, and there's a whole bunch of other yard sales just in this neighborhood. So yeah, great morning so far, guys.
Still pricing these should be done.
You have 10 on all of them?
Yep.
Together? Okay, guys, it was a very successful morning. I got a whole bunch of comic books real cheap, along with some other stuff I was a little less discerning on. Let's go down to the basement. I'll show you guys everything I got. So there you go, guys. That was my awesome morning hunting for comic books at local yard sales. Now, when I go hunting for comic books, I try to stay laser focused. I am just dialed in to find comic books and only comic books. I don't want to spend my hard-earned money on anything extraneous or large or cumbersome that'll take up room in my house or anything that is ultimately worthless or pointless. I just try to stay in the comic book zone and nowhere else. Okay, clearly that's not true. I buy all sorts of weird things at yard sales, but it's a good thing that I do because honestly, guys, comic books are a pretty rare commodity at yard sales. Yeah, I did find some comic books, and if you watch that footage, you would see that, wow, hey, Mike's pretty lucky. He found a lot of comic books for the amount of yard sales he went to. That's because I cut the footage from most of the ones I went to. On this day, I went to something like 15 different yard sales and only found comic books at 2 of them. And I knew those 2 had comic books because they were advertised online. The truth is, guys, you don't find comic books very often when you're at yard sales. Most of the time, you're going to strike out. But you might just hit a home run. You just have to keep swinging, keep checking every single yard sale. Whenever you see the sign pop up, take that turn and see what's down there. You never know what you're going to get. So I cut most of the footage out. But I did show you some of the non-comic book things that I got because I mention on my channel all the time, guys, I collect lots of different things besides comic books. And it's a good thing because when I am out hunting for comic books and they elude me, at least I can get some of the other cool stuff. People always want to see them, so you got it. I'm going to take a few minutes to show you some of the other strange things that I got on this day before I jump into the comic books. And as for those comic books, I have no idea what's in there. I have not looked at them since I bought them, so I'm going to go through them with you guys for the first time. Should be fun. So if you like the channel and want to support it, head on down, like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram under Lunch Money Comics IG. Let me show you some cool stuff I got. So let's start with this silly thing back here. Why did I get a gigantic antique gaming wheel? Well, from an antique standpoint, old gaming stuff can be quite valuable. People really like stuff related to gambling, gaming, especially if they can tie it to like a county fair or a special event, circus stuff. And this is pretty old. The guy I got it from said he got it out of a mansion in Western Massachusetts. And I think it's at least from the 60s, probably older than that. But I don't think it's worth that much money. I got it for personal reasons. I do lots of like fundraising stuff, whether it's through my kids' school or through Cub Scouts. It's always good to have stuff like this for our local town fair. I thought it was pretty neat. It's got a leather strap and makes a fantastic sound. I couldn't pass it up, guys. It cost $10. It was a no-brainer. I had to have it. Takes up a lot of room. Oh, and also, it was incredibly filthy. It took me about 20 minutes to clean it, covered in spiders. It was pretty gross. I think it came out pretty good. From the same guy, I also got these 2 fake copper lanterns. I know they're fake because my grandfather was a coppersmith and I used to work for him. I know fake copper when I see it, and these were made in Hong Kong. Still, I got these because it was $10 for the pair. They have a great look to them. They're fun for like Halloween or anything like that. So I thought they were pretty neat. Totally worth picking up for $10. So right across the street from that yard sale was another yard sale, and they had lots of things that I think you guys would be interested in. There were superhero toys. There were some masks from Wakanda Forever. There were some baseball cards, but he also had some games. Now, on this wall you guys see behind me, it's covered in comic books, but the wall I'm looking at, the one you can't see, is covered in board games. I am a huge board gamer. I love Dungeons and Dragons, and that whole wall is covered in games. I love them. I'm also a big fantasy fan. I love Game of Thrones. I love A Song of Ice and Fire, the book series by George R.R. Martin, which is why when I saw this, I had to buy it. This is a Game of Thrones Hand of the King, sort of a strategic card game, maybe better described as like a tile laying game. How do I know this? Because I already own this game. I've owned it for years. Why did I get this? Because it's still sealed in the plastic and it was listed at $4. Totally worth picking up as like a last minute gift or stocking stuffer for a friend of mine who, you know, likes Game of Thrones or is into board games. Happy to pick this up for $4. It's pretty cool. Let me know down in the comments if any of you have played this game before. Now I want to talk about a yard sale that was very early in that footage. One of the first ones I went to. It's the one with the box full of Austin Powers action figures. So here's my sort of pro tip, guys. If you ever go to a yard sale and you see lots of like things that look like they came from a store inventory, like a whole box of identical action figures. And this woman had like lots of like Lego sets. She had other like DC superhero stuff. When you see stuff like that, it's a pretty good bet that they got them out of like a storage unit, or that's like what they do. They hunt like estate sales and things like that. Whenever you see that, it's worth asking if they have comic books. Also, if you see superhero stuff, whether it's toys or costumes or whatever it may be, it's worth asking that person if they have comic books. Usually if they like that superhero type stuff, they also have comic books somewhere in their house. It's a little bit difficult in this day and age where the movies are so popular, but I tell you guys, it doesn't hurt to ask, and you'd be surprised how many times people say they do. So this woman had not only superhero stuff, but it looked like she went hunting at flea markets and stuff. So I asked her, do you have comic books? And she said, yes, but I can't sell them to you. I said, why not? And my suspicions were right. She got all this stuff out of a storage unit and she was selling all this in her yard sale. But the next day she was selling them all to like an auction house. And one of the guys running that auction house knew she had the comic books and told her to put them aside for him. So of course I asked her what kind of comic books were they? She said she knew nothing about comic books. She knew they were really beat up. Some of them were coverless, but that guy did mention there was a first appearance of Moon Knight. So Werewolf by Night 32, I think so. Yeah, it was laying in there. So yeah, I couldn't buy them, guys. But that's my point. You never know. You just have to ask. And as a matter of fact, one of the last yard sales I went on the day, I didn't show you guys any footage. There was nothing at this yard sale that indicated this guy had comic books, but we were talking. He was a nice guy, you know, drinking a beer at 10 o'clock in the morning. And we started talking, and he asked me what kind of things I'm into. I mentioned comic books, and he said he had a ton of them. His dad owned a convenience store when he was a kid, and he still had them somewhere buried in his house. He said he had a whole run of like She-Hulk. I'm not sure which series, but he said he was going to dig them out. We exchanged information, and I'm going to go back and go through them. That's my point, guys. You just have to ask. So, what did I get at this place that I couldn't get the comic books? Well, I got a couple things. One, vintage toys are cool. I found this old cap gun. The reason I got it was because it had a holster. That's pretty cool. You don't often see them with a holster. I don't know what year this is from, but it's pretty neat. You guys saw this in the footage. I found a set of the 1991 Upper Deck Final Edition set. I know exactly what this is because Pedro Martinez is my favorite player of all time. I know his rookie card is in this set because I own it, and I opened it up. You guys saw in the footage. I won't open up all the way, but there he is when he was signed by the Los Angeles Dodgers. So really cheap. It's not worth a ton of money, but I have friends who are really into Red Sox players, so happy to pick this up for them. And finally, I'm going to show you guys this. So I think you saw in the footage, there were a whole bunch of pins, all sorts of different kinds, but there were lots of political pins. She was selling this whole thing right here for $10. And they're all American, political pins. And some of them, a lot of them, I don't know what they are, but a lot of them I do. We got a Jimmy Carter pin up here. We have a Richard Nixon, Spiro Agnew pin right there. Barry Goldwater. I'm a big history fan, guys, and I have lots of pins like this. Whenever I find them cheap, I am happy to pick them up. But probably the best find was hidden underneath the edge of this box. And when I got home, I noticed it. You can barely see it right there. That is a Franklin Delano Roosevelt political pin. Can't tell if it's from the 30s or early 40s. I haven't looked at it close enough yet, but pretty darn cool right there. So yeah, I love these things. I'm happy to add them to my sort of historic war collection that I have. And yeah, one of the many other things I collect. Happy to pick this up. All told, guys, I got all of these things. I think I got them for $13, right? I got it for like, $10, $2, and $1. Totally worth that. The last thing I'm going to show you guys is sort of comic book related. These are trade paperbacks of the Walking Dead series, beloved television show and comic book series. Here's my confession, guys. I've never read The Walking Dead, and I've never watched the television show. I'm not a big horror guy. I know I'd like it, honestly. I don't watch much TV. I'm too busy these days, guys. And once I kind of missed the first couple seasons, I never wanted to go back and binge it. But I'm happy to pick up the trade paperbacks because he has 1 through 6, and we got 2 issues of number 4 here. So I'm excited to jump into these. I'd rather read these first before I actually watch the series. Let me know if you are a fan of The Walking Dead. I know a lot of you guys are. I'm almost embarrassed to say that, but let me know if you're a fan of the comic book series or the television show. I would love to hear from you. So that being said, guys, that was all of the sort of non-comic book stuff I got. Let me show you all these comic books I got, and we'll go through them for the first time together. Okay, this thing has to go. It's really in the way. All right, back to the regularly scheduled comic book channel. So I found 2 places that had comic books. Like I said, they were sort of advertised online. I couldn't tell exactly what the comic books were. The first one I went to, these comic books looked pretty darn beat up. He said also someone had bought like half of them by the time I got there. I wasn't early enough. But yeah, I got some comic books. I got them for like, I don't know, ended up being like $0.25 a piece is what I paid. Which is probably what I think they're worth because they are not in great shape. I know that much. So let's get into it. I'm going to go through these pretty quick. We have an X-Men Classic number 78. I used to love reading these X-Men Classics, guys. They're reprints of older X-Men books. I couldn't afford the real thing when I was a kid, so I read these. It's a pretty good one. Not sure which book that is. We have Marvel Portraits of a Universe, book 1 of 4. It says 16 all-new full-color portraits of Marvel's greatest moments from the industry's top painters with commentary by Stan Lee. Yeah, I've seen these before. These are pretty cool. I like these art books. Yeah, they're pretty neat. Let's start. Well, a whole bunch of new warriors I saw in there. I think this is Rage, that character. We have a Zen Intergalactic Ninja, first collector's edition. We get some Valiant comic books in here. We have Turok Dinosaur Hunter Yearbook number 1. We get a Spider-Man 2099 number 7. Looks like Vulture 2099 on the cover. We get a Spidey 2099 number 15. We got a Silver Sable in the Wild Pack versus Venom. We've got a cover of X-Men Lost Tales number 1. Hopefully I have the rest of it in somewhere. 4 Offbeat Mutant Adventures. We have an Exo Manowar Database number 1. Valiant comic from 1993. I've seen this one before. We got Superman in Action Comics number 692. Oh, here's the rest of the X-Men book, X-Men Lost Tales. So we got a whole bunch of X-Men stories in there. Oh, that's pretty cool. I might actually check that one out. Good reading material. We get another New Warriors right here. Another coverless. Looks like this is a Marvel Tales reprint of Spider-Man number 8. So reprint, no one get excited if you recognize that. First page, I don't know what this is. Dark Horse, Comics Greatest World X, I don't know what that is. We have a Green Lantern annual Bloodlines Outbreak. We have a Deathlock number 5. Some more classic X-Men with Arcade on the front. X-Men Classic number 46. I'm guessing this is X-Men 140, the Wendigo. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Nightcrawler and Wolverine fight Wendigo with Alpha Flight. That's a great book. I was just reading that recently, actually. We got Superboy number 1. We have Micronauts, The New Voyages number 2. This is bizarre. Cyberspace 3000, guest starring Galactus. I have no idea what this is, guys. It's a Marvel publication. Let me know down in the comments if you know. Quasar number 38. Pretty cool. We have a Star Trek. Star Trek number 42. We have an old 15-cent Walt Disney. We have Donald and Daisy there. We got a Battlestar Galactica number 19. Avengers Spotlight starring Hawkeye number 34. And this is pretty cool. We got an old gold key, Tono and Kono, the Jungle Twins. So, yeah, guys, obviously nothing crazy good in here. I got all these, again, for not much, maybe a quarter a piece. Pretty cheap for this big stack of comic books. Some of them are reading material. Other ones I'm going to throw like in a 25-cent box next time I go to the flea market. Who knows? Some of them I'll give to my kids. Hey, they're cool. You never know, guys. What's going to be in there? You got to look. So let's talk about the next one. So this one was really interesting because this kid had lots of action figures. He had some pretty cool board games. And not only did he have a box of comic books, he had 3 signed books that you guys saw in the footage. As it was, I bought one of the signed books. And then when I asked him how much he wanted for the rest of the books, he was charging like $3 a pop. That's obviously way too much. We came up with a deal that I got them for less than $1 each. Plus, I paid him the $10 for the signed one. So let's start with that signed one. You guys saw it. This is the New Warriors number 5 with art by Mark Bagley. And it's signed by Mark Bagley. Bagley's signature looks a little weird because it's been rubbed off a bit. Looks like it was, I don't know, maybe they put the bag on too quick or it's just the kid was just rough with it. You know, it's kind of scratched off a little bit. But still, it's definitely Bagley. And yeah, you see originally had it, it's like $20. I paid him $10 for it. Still, pretty cool, guys. It's neat. Not a key or anything like that, but a cool book. All right, let's go through the rest of these. I think all of these are DC. At least that's what I saw when I went through them. And I am not a big DC collector, guys, so I'm relying on some of you to tell me what some of these are. I do recognize a few of them. First up, we have Teen Titans number 16. Cool kind of static cover there. We have a whole bunch of these. Batman Legends of the Dark Knight number 72. This looks like it's the Werewolf part 2 of 3. We'll see if the rest of the series is in there. We have a Batman Shadow of the Bat number 39 with Solomon Grundy, and another one. I got 2 of those. Then we have a Death of Superman, the graphic novel. Pretty neat. I already have one of these. Everyone has one of these, or has at least read the story and is familiar with it. And there's a ton of Death of Superman in here. He seemed too young to have collected these. Maybe he wasn't that young. He could have collected these back when he was a kid, or maybe he got them from like, a relative. But a lot of these are Death of Superman in the immediate aftermath. So let's go through those. We have Funeral for a Friend, the epilogue. Cool. Okay. We have Sword of the Atom number 4. I have no idea what that is. Superboy in Volcano number 29. Black Orchid number 16. Vertigo imprint. I like Black Orchid. I've talked about her recently. That's pretty cool. I'm interested to see more of a contemporary modern take on her. Scare Tactics number 4. No clue. We have Justice League of America number 69. Doomsday. Batman Gotham Adventures. This was pretty cool. Number 22. Great back row cover. I like that a lot. This one. Robin 2 number 1. The Joker's Wild with a very cool 90s hologram of Robin. I don't know if you guys can see that. I've seen this book before. I don't know if it's worth anything, but it's neat. Batman Dark Knight Dark City. We have another Batman Adventures, this time number 32. We have Secret Origins featuring Batman and versus the Mud Pack. Got me there. I always pride myself on giving you guys good information on comic books, but I don't know much about these, and I don't think any of these really jumped out to me as big keys. Any Batman fans out there, I'd love to hear from you regarding whether or not, never mind keys, if these are good reading. I'd love to know. Shadow of the Bat number 43, the Rat Catcher. Shadow of the Bat number 42. Shadow of the Bat. Looks like I got a lot of these. Number 1, The Last Arkham. I don't know if that is something. Legends of the Dark Knight number 73. Oh, Werewolf part 3 of 3. There was another werewolf one somewhere around here, so maybe I have the whole set. All right, so I recognize this. Hold on. The Adventures of Superman number 497, Doomsday. So this is some early Doomsday right here. This is Superman the Man of Steel 19, Doomsday. I think this is the one before this. I think is the first Doomsday. It's not this one. No, this isn't the first Doomsday, but it's close. It's like a second Doomsday, something like that. Let me know down in the comments if you catch it before I do. Superman Action Comics number 684. Yeah, these are all Doomsday. Yeah, look at that, leading up to his death. Number 74. Here we go. Superman is Dead. Justice League of America, number 71, black cover. The one before that, Justice League number 70. So we have Funeral for a Friend Part 1. And, looks like maybe I have all of them here. Part 1. Part 2, we get Action Comics number 1, homage here with Supergirl. Number 3. So yeah, these are all the Aftermath comics after he died. Number 4. Oh, it's out of order. Yeah, number 5. Number 6. Number 7. Sad cover with Pa Kent dead in the wheat field. Number 8. And then I had the epilogue too. So that's pretty good. So yeah, 9 parts of this Funeral for a Friend. Again, I don't know if they're worth anything. There are 3 comics in this one. The first one is Teen Titans Origins, number 47. And then we have number, 48 and 49. Cool. Evil Dead 2 Dark Ones Rising, number 3. We get some random stuff to finish this box off, guys. Stephen King's The Stand. Marvel Limited Series 1, issue 1 of 5. Grendel, God and the Devil, number 1. Mage Incorporated, number 1. Oh, yeah, it's 2. I have 2. I don't even know what this is. SGP Comics. Let me know if you know what this is. And then finally, the best of Walt Disney Comics from the year 1944. How random is that? So yeah, guys, all told, I got this whole stack of comic books. I got them for $50, so I got them for less than $1 a piece, plus that signed book. Not the greatest deal. I don't think there's anything major in there, but hey, it might be some good reading material. I'm relying on you guys to educate me. So there you go, guys. I hope you didn't mind coming along on my morning hunting at local yard sales. Yeah, I didn't spend a ton of money and I didn't really get anything great, but that's okay because I had a fun time. It's the thrill of the hunt, right, guys? You never know if that next yard sale is going to have that comic book you've always wanted. So head on down to the comments. Let me know which of my pickups you like the best, whether it's a comic book or otherwise. And in the meantime, I hope you keep hunting for comic books in strange and unusual places like yard sales. Let me know if you go to yard sales and how you fare looking for comic books. If this is sort of the stuff you find, or is it even worse than this? I would love to hear from you. Thank you all so very, very much for watching, and I will see you all next time.